Band has an amazing story and it's really terrific music. So it's a treat to get to play this kind of stuff. It's timeless music. You know, first off, this stuff was so popular back in the 30s and 40s, and it really is good music. It's great songwriting, great melodies, great lyrics, and having music that features this many musicians is kind of a rarity nowadays. You know, we might have 15 to 17 musicians touring with the Glenn Miller Orchestra at any given time. So it's kind of rare to hear this kind of music played by this kind of band. And of course, it's acoustic music as well. So there's just a lot to like about it, and it's kind of a rarity today. Yeah, Glenn Miller, I think, was without a doubt at times in his career the most popular musician in the whole country. We're talking about the late 30s into the mid 40s, and he had a ton of top 10 hits and number one hits. So I think in any decade of music, there's going to be certain musicians that are remembered, and their songbook kind of makes it into the lexicon of popular music. And Glenn is definitely one of those few musicians from the swing era. So people still know this music all over the country, you know, 80 years later, which is really something. And I think that's a big part of the reason the band's still around today. Yeah, they recorded Chattanooga Choo Choo in 1941. That's one of Glenn Miller's biggest hits. It's a song that we play at every single show, even today. And within a year of its release by 1942, it had sold 1 million copies. So Glenn was awarded that very first gold record that was ever given out. He was given it on a live radio broadcast. And of course, that's been a big tradition ever since, you know, gold records and platinum records and all that. So that was the very first gold record for Chattanooga Choo Choo. Celebrating the year 1944 and the 80th anniversary of that year. So you're right, it features kind of an eclectic mix of music. It's some of the big hits. You mentioned a feature with Crystal Gayle, and it also features some music from that era that was never recorded in the studio. Some of this music was performed on radio broadcasts that have kind of been preserved over the years and decades, but we're recording some of that stuff for the very first time in a studio, a recording studio with like a high fidelity recording. So hopefully we get to debut some of this stuff the way you know it was intended as it was written. So kind of a few facets to the project. I feel incredibly fortunate to be the music director of the group. I really genuinely like this music and I like this stuff growing up. So the opportunity to join the band as a saxophone player was incredibly exciting for me. Yeah, probably the best place to start is our website. That's glennmillerorchestra.com. And that has that album. It's got all our albums, but of course, it's got that one on there. And folks can also find our tour schedule on there as well if they want to see the band at a live show.